Other than Scott Frost, there was a bunch of new faces at practice media availability on Monday. Mike Schaefer here with the Husker247 post practice podcast, joined with Michael Bruntz here. Bruntz, five new faces, four new faces that you gotta put the name to the face for the first time in person today. Who stood out for you amongst those that spoke, and then we'll dive into some Scott Frost in a little bit.
Yeah, four new faces, and the two that probably stood out to me the most. So Nebraska secondary, obviously, they have a lot of open jobs there. We talked to Deshaun Singleton today, the junior college safety transfer, and also Tommy Hill, the Arizona State corner transfer. And that was our first time really being around those guys, and I was surprised at how big they are. Like in kind of thinking about the guys who they replaced or are trying to replace, both of those guys look the part. That stood out to me the most. Tommy Hill, in particular, I think he looks the way that you would want a Big Ten corner to look, and a guy that's got experience from his time at Arizona State before he came to Nebraska. So those were the two that kind of stood out most to me. What did you kind of make of the new faces today?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Tommy Hill is going to be a pretty popular guy if he can back up sort of the confidence that he has and his ability with good play there in the secondary. He came into Nebraska basically feeling like he was going to have to go earn a starting spot, and I think he's put together a pretty good spring. And he has a good attitude. I mean, he said that it didn't matter if it was outside at corner, if they need him at safety, if they need him somewhere else in the defensive backfield, or if they need him on special teams. He says that he wants as many opportunities and many reps on the field as he could get. When asked if that man is a return man, he said no, he wants to be involved in every special teams unit that'll have him. And so that kind of attitude, I think, is really good. And it's what Nebraska wants, and it's how you can get value out of a player like that too. So you hope that he can help you out there as a corner, and then you try to use him as a return man and maybe in the coverage units. But I thought Tommy Hill was pretty interesting today. One of the other conversations, and this is the first time we've really been able to chat with him and sit down and I guess we didn't sit, we stood, but and figure out what was on his mind and why Nebraska. And he said what I have written and what I have suspected and what Travis Fisher had sort of intimated is that Nebraska probably walks away with this commitment in 2020 if he's allowed to take visits at that time. He had already visited Arizona State. He had been to Florida State. He kind of pared it down to those two schools because he wasn't comfortable going to a place he couldn't visit. When visits came back open, he knew he wasn't staying at Arizona State. Nebraska was immediately the first school he wanted to get to, and he liked it right away. And a big part of that is Travis Fisher, and they have a good relationship, and he knows Braxton Clark, and he knows Lynham as well. They're all from the Orlando area. So I think Tommy Hill's going to be a pretty popular guy amongst the Nebraska faithful, and certainly will be someone who wants to give fans, reasons to talk, whether it's the red-white game on Saturday or whether it's next fall.
Yeah, we also, in addition to the new faces, I guess, one other thing on Deshaun Singleton that I think is important. This is a guy that, things came together really quickly for him in getting to Nebraska. And, a guy that kind of bet on himself, didn't have much recruiting attention out of high school. Again, I think a guy that was probably hurt a little bit by COVID and not being able to get out, coaches not being able to get out and see him and those kinds of things. So a high school corner who also played some quarterback, who moved to safety in the junior college ranks. I mean, if you kind of start ticking off the list of what you expect from a Travis Fisher defensive back, it's somebody that can kind of play both safety and corner. That's what he values. So, I think if Deshaun Singleton can learn the defense, get comfortable with the calls, I think he's going to have a role in that defense this year. I think he's a guy that this staff really likes and was able to kind of hone in on pretty quickly in the junior college ranks.
Yeah, I think Nebraska made the decision pretty early on that if it got to Deshaun Singleton, they weren't going to really have to chase a lot more help at safety, which I think says a lot about how they view him. What gauge did you get on Deshaun Singleton's personality? I mean, I always think the guys in the defensive back room are pretty fascinating to me. You sometimes have the quiet guys like a Markel Dismuke or even a Deontay Williams who tended to let his playing do most of his talking. Or you have some noisier individuals or guys that are comfortable in the spot like a Cam Taylor-Britt. Where does Deshaun Singleton fall for Nebraska now?
He was pretty low key. I think he's had some world experience. I mean, the going the JUCO route is not for the faint of heart, and that certainly.
He was
I
at
think,
Hutchinson, right? That's where he was at.
yeah, and I think it
Yeah.
kind of speaks to his confidence in himself that he could go there and emerge with a better opportunity. So, it is kind of a group that has tended to attract some more. I don't know if the best word would be magnetic personalities. I think he's still kind of figuring out where he fits in everything, and I think that's probably a pretty mature approach for a guy coming into his first spring.
Yeah, Tommy Hill is definitely going to be. If he plays well, we're going to hear from him. I have little doubt that he's going to be a fixture with the press conferences and with everything else. And he's got a lot of confidence. And one of the things he actually talked about, and this is moving off of just a personality thing, he really tried to use Trey Palmer as sort of his gauge for a lot this spring. He used kind of reps he had with Palmer. He viewed as some of the biggest that he was going to get during a practice during 7-on-7 work. He wanted to win those. He said he thinks they're probably 50-50 over this spring. He was kind of using Trey Palmer and Trey Palmer's success as an SEC wide receiver as a bit of a barometer. And I thought that was kind of interesting. And I think that's another reason why the transfer portal has been so big for a team like Nebraska this year. Yes, you got to backfill some areas where you need some immediate contributions, but it can also help guys get better. I mean, Tommy Hill played in some games for Arizona State, but comparatively, it's not like he has a ton of experience. And so he came into this and he looks at guys like Trey Palmer and he said Oliver Martin and Omar Manning, and those were the really valuable reps for him during the one-on-one stuff. And so I think that's good to hear. I mean, you want guys recognizing kind of who's going to help them get better, and you want them craving those reps and not shying away from them.
Definitely. So we are less than a week away from the crown jewel of spring ball, which is the red-white game, and we still don't have a format. That's what we learned today.
Yeah, I don't think I'm breaking any news when I say that maybe everyone else beyond the coaches views the red-white game in a much bigger fashion than what they're going to roll out there for us on Saturday. I don't look for it to be a ones versus one situation. I don't know that they're going to chop up the roster and just draft different stuff. I think it could be kind of a ho-hum thing for them on Saturday, where it's you come out and you do a little scrimmage, ones versus twos, and you run a few things, and Casey Thompson gets like 15 snaps, and maybe that's it. Like maybe that's all you see out of the ones. What in an ideal world, what does Michael Brunts want to walk away with Saturday, having seen or got to experience?
Yeah, well, and Scott Frost hit on this a little bit today that because of injuries at certain spots, certainly tight end, one of them, they are still weighing what they're going to do with the format for Saturday's scrimmage, whether that's just a straight offense versus defense. It sounds like they don't have enough healthy guys at certain spots to be able to split up teams and play anything close to an actual game. So I think you'll see a little bit of the flashes of offense. Scott Frost said today that that they will probably not show a ton to put on film, lest any Nebraska opponents are watching and get an advantage from having seen what Nebraska is going to do. So I'm expecting pretty vanilla from what they're going to show offensively. And you're just hoping that everybody gets out healthy. That's pretty much where they are. You want to see how a few guys perform with some fans in the stadium, but I guess you're kind of hoping at this point to just see how individual guys look. How does Anthony Grant play with contact? How does Trey Palmer get open? What are these young linebackers like Ernest Hausman and Randolph Kapai? What do they look like? I think that's what we're going to get a better idea of versus anything that's, wide ranging and really learning something about what this team is going to look like once they roll the ball out there for the 2022 season.
You wanna do a little trivia real quickly?
I'm always game for trivia. What do you got?
All right. Can you name one player that scored a touchdown in the 2021 spring game? Five different players scored. Can you name one?
Oh, did Wyatt Lever, did he score a touchdown?
Wyatt Lever scored the last touchdown on a pass from Heinrich Harburg, a 25-yard touchdown as time expired.
Who were the other four? Or were there four?
It was a game-winning touchdown pass because the White won 21-20 against the Red last year.
See, I already forgot the drama of that play. Shame on
see?
me. Shame on me.
And just incredible, and it set the tone. It was a one-score game for the Red team that day.
They learned how to play in one-score games right away. They just need to learn to win them.
Here were your other four touchdown scorers last year. Marvin Scott kicked off the scoring. He had a 4-yard touchdown run. And then I believe it was Jock Yant who had a 21-yard touchdown run in the third quarter. Isaiah Harris had a 29-yard touchdown run in the third quarter. And then Brody Belt. Yes, the very same Brody Belt that you have heard quite a bit about this spring. 23-yard touchdown last year pass from Logan Smothers.
See, I was thinking maybe Belt, but I wasn't sure. So I'm glad I went with Wyatt Lever. I feel good about that.
I'm pretty impressed because I didn't think you could name it. I didn't think you could do it.
It took me
I
a
had
while.
my doubt. I had my doubt.
Understandably.
Anything you wanna throw out there?
No, I think that's enough. That's a good. Everybody watching this can go and amaze their friends with that trivia question now, and we can get with them later this week.
Just fantastic stuff. All right, we'll be back later this week. We'll have more post-practice podcasts. We'll have a full Husker247 podcast. I'm told there's going to be a Husker Hypecast this week. There's going to be some recruiting talk. You're going to get a lot of podcasts on your feed this week from Husker247. We'll be bringing you the content. We'll have plenty of content on the website as well at Husker247. Be sure to check that out. For Michael Brooks, I'm Mike Schaefer. We'll catch you next time.